do some evaluation. We're going to be talking about free agents as well that could really help us as well in that position. We're talking about giving weapons to Zach, man. We need to discuss this. So 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Give me 1 second, folks. We're going to connect the audio. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. We're about to get right to it. Give me 1 second, folks. Hold on.
Blog Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and we are back at it again. You know what I'm saying? Now we're here to talk. Off season is here. We got a lot of things going on, but this New York Jets team, this New York Jets roster still needs evaluation. We need to talk about weapons. We need to talk about wide receivers. We need to talk about what we can do to help Zach Wilson as we continue to roll on throughout, the process of beginning our offseason, going into free agency, and figuring out what kind of targets we need to grab up to ensure that our QB has someone to throw to. But before we get into that, I am the man of the people. I am here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. So without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get into the show. I am fired up. Fired up, man. I'm hyped. There's a lot of discussions, a lot of talk, a lot of rumors flying around, and we're going to talk about that as well. You know what I'm saying? Listen, your boy's on iTunes, man. I got quite a bit of people following, subscribing to the show on iTunes. Please continue to do that. Also, listen, give your boy a 5-star rating. I see there's some people, giving me 5-star ratings, people leaving feedback. Please continue to do that. Share the show as well on your social medias with your friends and your family. Go on iTunes, type in The Long Beach Joe Show, hit that subscribe button. Listen to my shows. Give me some feedback. Let me know what y'all think. Again, your boy is also on YouTube as well. I know some of you listen on Blog Talk, which is The Long Beach Joe Show on Blog Talk as well. I'm on YouTube too. You know what I'm saying? You want to see this handsome face? Come on over to YouTube, right? Type in Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. All right. Subscribe to that channel. Hit the notification bell. So when I post content, you folks will be in the know. All right. And you get to watch the show live. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to all the savages that watch me live on YouTube. Brian Seal, Mr. Magic, salutes to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Come on over, subscribe to the show on YouTube, subscribe to my platform on YouTube, and you'll get to watch the show live. Again, we take live callers. We do all of this. We have a lot of fun over here too. You'll see the other videos, other content that I do as well. You will also see, us playing games from time to time too. We have a lot of fun over here on YouTube. So please, again, Long Beach Joe Jets, come over, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give my videos a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and do that. I'm also on Twitter as well, YoungJ000. The show's page is at The Long Beach Joe. Go ahead and follow both of those pages. Hit me up. I'm here to talk about football. Some people want to hit me up and talk about life. I'm here for that too. I'll listen. I'll listen. So we're going to talk about all that. So go ahead and hit those pages up. And again, if you hit my link tree as well, which is all over all those pages on my Facebook, on my social media, all that stuff, go through my link tree, subscribe to all of my other YouTube pages, and please follow me in my Discord. Join my Discord. My mods be getting after me. I try to remember, okay? Follow my Discord. Go to, my link tree. Hit that link tree, scroll down, follow my Discord. We have a lot of fun. We chop it up in there. We have just a ton of jokes. We do all kind of fun things. You know what I'm saying? So come on by. Now, don't get too crazy in there. Don't get too randy. You know what I'm saying? Because the mods will get you up out of there. But come in there, have a lot of fun, tell jokes about each other. We enjoy it all. So please join the Discord as well. Now, with all that said, you know what I'm saying? It's time to talk about the Jets. It's time to talk about the New York Jets. It's time to talk about weapons. It's time to talk about offense, something that the New York Jets have lacked for years. All right. We've had big issues. And when you look at some of those issues, it's really came from the fact that we haven't been able to surround whatever young quarterback that we've had with talent. Of course, we've had quarterback issues. A lot of guys have not worked out here, but we've also had issues surrounding those quarterbacks with talent, right? Particularly at the wide receiver position. Now, if you look at the New York Jets coming into this season, everybody was excited about our wide receiver core. Still excited about a lot of these guys. But, a lot of people, if you talked about last offseason, we were saying, listen, the strength of this offense is the wide receiver core. You got Crowder, you got Corey Davis, you got Elijah Moore, you got Braxton Barrios, Keelan Cole, Mims. We were all hyped. And then as the season played on, you started to see some guys that we thought would really step up and have big impact. Denzel Mims, not have any kind of real impact. Denzel Mims. We started to see other guys that we would hope kind of would take a step forward, and guys that we knew had immense talent really make an impact in games, like Elijah Moore. And there was other guys as well. Crowder got his contract restructured, but he was still able to come out and be effective. Corey Davis dealt with the situation. So when you look at this, our wide receiver core now, a lot of people have us going into the offseason and are wondering, hey, do the New York Jets need to continue to add to this wide receiver core? Because we may lose some guys as well to free agency. Do we need to add to the wide receiver core to make it even more potent so that Zach Wilson can be successful here? And I say, yeah. Why not? Add more weapons if you can. Especially, again, going into this offseason, we have the cap money. We got $54 million, I believe. There's been a lot of dead contracts that have come off. I think $19 million of that is going to have to possibly go to our draft class because we got so many picks. But again, that could change as well, depending on how we utilize those picks if we end up trading those off. So you got some receivers, hitting the market there. But when you look and when you evaluate the season, the guys that we have here, we still got a solid core, even if we lose some guys. And again, even though we have guys like Jamison Crowder who could be going to free agency, we could end up bringing that guy back. I am not against bringing Jamison Crowder back if he's willing to work for a deal that will work for the Jets and work for him. I'd have no issues with that. I don't want to overpay Jamison. Again, we were able to, bring his contract down this year. He took a pay cut and stayed with us and performed decently. He's a guy that you can move into the slot. He can make plays. He can do all those things. So I wouldn't necessarily be against moving on from him if he would like to stay here and step up and continue to make plays and do his thing within the system. Now, a guy that I do believe is a must resign for us, it's got to be Braxton Barrios. Braxton Barrios, first and foremost, is an all-pro kick returner, okay? I'm going to say this again. Braxton Barrios from the New York Jets is a first-team all-pro kick returner, all right? Listen, okay? We got a guy that is out there making plays, doing his thing, and he's handling business. He's a guy that I look at and say, hey, he's a must resign. Not for just what he does on the special teams end of the game, which he was phenomenal with us this season, but we saw what he was able to do with working within the slot. We saw him step up when we were missing a lot of guys later on in the season. A lot of guys were injured. Corey Davis was on the IR. We'll talk about him in a second. We were missing Elijah Moore as well. He was injured. And Braxton Barrios was able to step up and make play after play after play. He was the guy that Zach Wilson was looking to later on in the season to throw to and do his thing. So I think Braxton Barrios, for us, in my opinion, is a must resign. Now, again, I don't want to dramatically overpay this guy. And I know ever since that all-pro, ever since that all-pro mention got up, ever since he got that all-pro, I know the price has gone up a bit. But I think he's a guy that we should absolutely bring back. And again, he's kind of alluded to the fact that him and the New York Jets have had discussions. So they're definitely, somewhere within the contract talks. Where they are, who knows. But they've definitely, reached out and gone back and forth about contracts. So I'm hoping that we bring Braxton Barrios back. Here's a guy that's been in the league for a minute, and he's coming in here and doing done his thing for us. Now, let me tell you something. A guy that I'm extremely excited about coming back next season, a young guy that I cannot wait to see him continue to climb up, in the NFL, is Elijah Moore. Man, Elijah Moore was phenomenal for us this season. He was phenomenal. He had the most receiving yards out of anybody on the New York Jets. 538 yards. Had 5 TDs as well. The impact that he showed in certain games was crazy. And again, this was a kid that when we drafted him, we were all shocked we got him in the second round. But when we drafted him, we saw the outpour of not just people in college talking about how phenomenal he was, the type of person he was, the personality. No, there was pro players coming out and saying, listen, this guy's the real deal. I don't know why he was still there in the second round, but this guy is the real deal. And the Jets got themselves a heck of a player. You had, some beat writers saying that he, is the best wide receiver the New York Jets have ever drafted. I'm not lying about that. You can go back and look at the articles. But he came in here and, started to get things going a little bit more towards the mid part of the season, and then he just took off. This guy is phenomenal. He's got great attributes for our offense. He's fast. He's a guy that has a solid set of hands as well. The only thing about Elijah Moore, and I want to see next season, is can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? He only played 11 games this season. If he can stay healthy and stay on the field for us, the connection between him and Zach Wilson, whoo, that's going to be something that we're going to be excited about for years to come. For years to come. Then you look at Corey Davis. I told everybody call Corey Davis. I called on a couple times, Corey Davis, 492 yards on the season. He started out the season strong, man. Started out the season strong, and he was getting fed a lot of targets. Now, one thing I love about Corey Davis is how big he is. His catch radius is great. He had some drops, though, this season. Had some big drops. And then he started to suffer injuries. I believe there was a groin injury at one point, and then he ended up on the IR. He missed a lot of the season on the IR after having a core muscle surgery. So, again, we just signed Corey Davis this past offseason. I'm hoping that he comes back next year fully healthy. He's ready to go. He only played 9 games this season. Only played 9. He's got to come back healthier. If he cuts out the drops, Corey Davis could have a big-time impact in this offense. We saw him consistently be the guy early in the season that Zach would just absolutely zero in on and just chuck the ball up. And Corey was often going up and making plays. And a lot of people were upset about that because it was hurting Zach. we used to see him just kind of dial and lock in on Corey Davis every single play. But, there were times, again, where we saw Corey Davis come up with footballs and be able to make plays. That big play in that Titans game, the 53-yard bomb where Zach Wilson is running for his life, runs out right and just tells Corey, hey, just go downfield. He chucked it up. That was Corey Davis that went up and got that football. Made a big-time play against his former team. So I'm excited about Corey Davis, but goodness gracious, he's got to stay healthy next season. And he's got to cut down on the drops. I also like what Keelan Cole brought to the table as well. Here's a guy that made a lot of plays, some freakish plays. He had some catches this year where I was like, whoa, that was Keelan Cole that went up and got that thing. Some one-handers, some catches behind his back, some catches going out of bounds where, he just barely tapped his feet and kept his feet in. So, yeah, Keelan Cole's a guy as well that I'm excited about too. He's a guy that we could look to bring back as well. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that we could look to bring back as well if the deal works for us. But let me tell you something. There's one guy, man. That's that boy Denzel Mims. Listen, we were all excited about Denzel Mims this past offseason. Going into the season, everybody was saying that this was going to be his breakout year. You could have watched anything from mainstream media, and everybody was saying he's going to have over 1,000 yards this year. He's going to light it up. He's going to show everybody, that the New York Jets were just got an absolute steal being able to get him in the second round. He's going to moss people. He's going to do that. And he came in here and did nothing. He did nothing. Only had 133 yards on the season. We saw him struggle to even get on the field. There were guys, literally, we were down a ton of wide receivers towards the late part of the season, and he still couldn't get on the field to play. Still. Now, there was a lot of talk that it was, things going on between him and the coaching staff, and a lot of people, especially earlier in the season, were screaming for Mims. I was myself as well. I wanted to see the kid get out there and play. When he did get maybe a snap or two here, we saw the catch. We saw catches. We saw the playmaking ability. We saw the athletic ability that he had, but he just wasn't being put out there consistently enough. And when pressed about it, at first, the coaching staff tried to be nice. Hey, we're just going to fit him within the offense where we can. We'll figure it out. And then eventually it got to the point where they came out and pretty much said, listen, he don't understand the playbook, okay? He doesn't understand the playbook, and he doesn't know where he's supposed to be at all times. Sulla literally came out and said, listen, I need him to know this position, and this position. I need him to know all three positions as a wide receiver. I need him to do that. If he doesn't understand that, he's not going to get on the field. And my goodness, they kept to their word. I don't know why it took him so long or why it's taking him so long to learn the playbook, but we saw Denzel Mims get no time. There was times when, again, we saw guys that were coming off the street. We had a wide receiver Black come in and get more targets, more catches, and more yards than Denzel Mims in a game, and he had only been here for a very little time. It's like, what is going on here? So when you look at this season, it was supposed to be a breakout season. Looks like it's turned into a nightmare season. When you look at the season, I don't know if it bodes well for, saying that Denzel Mims is going to stay here. I really don't know. This upcoming season, and I don't want to see it because I think he has unbelievable ability. But this upcoming offseason, we could end up seeing Denzel Mims either cut or traded. It would not shock me if that were to happen. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but I'm saying if it does happen, it would not shock me. We also saw various other things from Mims as well. I felt like when he got out on the field, he would press. He would try too hard to make a play. We saw penalties as well. He just had a lot of issues, man. A lot of issues this season getting on the field. A lot of issues just making time, man. So we're going to talk about the wide receiver position as well. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about free agency too. The impact again, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf. There's a lot of talk about him, possibly being out there for trade. All those guys, there's rumors swirling around there. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk a little bit about wide receivers in the draft that are coming out as well. We're going to talk about it all. You know what I'm saying? All I want to say is my dude, Drake London is out there. I'm not biased. I'm not a homer. I'm just saying, if you want it done right, if you want a player that's going to make plays, just go get a guy from SC. That's all I'm saying. Go get a guy from SC and he'll figure it out. We got Elijah Vera Tucker. You see he's making plays out there. One of the best linemen in the league. Just go get you a SC player and fight on. Also, the New York Jets have signed defensive lineman Bradley Aney to a, futures contract as well. I want to bring that up. You know what I'm saying? He was a Cowboy at one point. They picked him up in the draft. Now he's here, on a future reserve contract for us. So we'll see what happens going forward with him. So we got a lot to discuss. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are talking offense. We're talking wide receivers. We're talking weapons. We're talking Zach Wilson. We're talking it all. Please share the stream as well. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, please like the stream. If you'd like to give to the stream, up there is my super chat. You can. If you'd like to hit the Cash App, please do. Anything you give to the stream is greatly appreciated. So we're going to get to the lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. First caller I'm going to, my guy, 914. I'm coming directly to you. 914 salutes to you. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Let's start, man. Listen, the New York Jets, right now, when you look at their wide receiver core, do you think the New York Jets lack a number one wide receiver presence?
Definitely. First thing first, I want to ask you this. What was your favorite part of Wild Card Weekend?
My favorite part of Wild Card Weekend was,
I think I know.
was watching the Patriots. Was watching the Patriots get their butts handed to them. It excites me when I see Bill Belichick upset. When I see him pissed off, it excites me. I like it. I have a great day every time I see him get mad, walking off the field after a loss. I get hyped. What about you?
I gotta say the same thing. I knew they were gonna lose because they could not beat good opponents all year. They haven't beaten good opponents in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like they have 8 wins in the last 3 years compared to 18 losses against teams that finish over 500.
Yeah,
that's 3 wins a year. That's not good.
Yeah, it's not. So, what are you thinking about the New York Jets wide receiver position, man? Do you think we lack a number one wide receiver presence?
Definitely. Definitely, they lack that dynamic top tier wide receiver. Look, you got your slot, you got Davis, who could be a good number 2, but you need that big number. And you think about the impact of getting your young quarterback top tier number 1 wide receiver. I mean, you look, Joe Burrow just with Jamar Chase just won the AFC North and led the Bengals to their first playoff win since the Herbert Walker Bush administration. And you look at Josh Allen and Diggs, they just won their second consecutive AFC East division title. And then you look at the Cardinals and Kyler Murray and D-Hop. They made the They made the playoffs. Sure, they fell apart at the end and lost humiliatingly to the Rams, but they still made it.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, but I want to ask you this question as well. When you talk about them getting those weapons, and yes, the addition of Chase with the Bengals, I mean, you see it. That kid is phenomenal. He lit so many people up this year. He didn't light us up, though. He didn't light us up. We were able to slow him down just a little bit, but he lit so many people up, and you're seeing, guys, absolutely just get destroyed by him. But one of the things that I looked at, and a lot of people were screaming about this as well, they were saying, well, Elijah Moore, if he stays healthy, I think he shows that he could be a number 1. Do you believe that Elijah Moore could be our number 1 wide receiver?
I mean, he can't, but look, he's better suited to the slot. He's also very good at running those reverse jet sweeps, same as Barrios is. But, like, you need one that's he doesn't have the size. He's a bit undersized. What is he, 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't have that size, and so the cornerbacks are generally going to be bigger than him on the outside.
Yeah.
So you need to have the one that's got the size who can match up with those top tier cornerbacks. Like your what's his name in Buffalo? I can't remember the one that got hurt.
The big wide receiver they have up there in Buffalo is Diggs. That guy is.
No, I'm talking about the cornerback. The cornerback in Buffalo that got hurt, that they got out for the season. That was
White, Tre'Davious White.
They lost this year.
Yeah, guys.
Tre'Davious White. I mean, you really want to see you really want to put more one-on-one with Tre'Davious White. It's not a fun scenario, I think, in my head.
Yeah. So when you're talking about getting that number 1 guy, because there's been a lot of talk about that as well, because free agency is coming up, and there's just so many guys that could be out there, but there's a lot of rumors swirling. Now, there's a lot of talk that Amari Cooper could be out there. He could be on the trade block possibly this offseason. Now, you said the New York Jets need to look for that big-time wide receiver, that number 1 guy. Would you target Amari Cooper if you're the New York Jets, if he's out there for a trade?
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, sure, he's got a lot of money, but none of it's guaranteed money. It's all like if it doesn't. So I mean, you could try it out, and let's say it doesn't work out this year, you cut him, and you don't have any dead cap. So it's a very, and then it's not going to cost you a lot because the Cowboys desperately need to They need to clear cap space, so they can't demand a lot in return.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can demand something. I mean, that guy's he's still a playmaker. He still can go out there. But again, I'm looking at his.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not gonna.
Yeah, I'm looking at his cap. I'm looking at his cap, and he's making $22 million this season. I think we only have 54 at this point. Again, there's some cuts and things that we could come up, but man, that would be a tough trade, especially when you're giving up capital.
Of course, being one.
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely come in and be our number 1. But again, making $22 million in a season, we have a lot of other needs as well. I'd like him, but I'm telling you, that would be quite a bit of cap to actually dedicate to him. But there's another guy
there's other wide receivers out there that are potentially on the trade block. I mean, there's obviously Cooper. I mean, there's been the recent the Calvin Ridley stuff, which obviously you got to see if he's all clear in the head, of course, before you consider that option. But I mean, if he's clear in the head, you can't say no to guy's going to be on the cheaper end.
Yeah.
Who's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah, but that's the big question, though, with him, and that's where I was going to go with you next, is asking you about Calvin Ridley. The big thing for me with Calvin Ridley is I understand wanting to trade capital for him. He's a great wide receiver. He can absolutely go out there and really make plays. The problem, like you said as well, is there's some, issues upstairs, but the big thing is a lot of people don't know if he's in the right space upstairs to even continue to play football. There's questions if he wants to even continue to play football in the NFL. And I think that if you have any kind of questions about that, about a player that's going to come into your facility when we're doing all the things that we've done, we're making a culture change. We've had issues in the past where we've had guys come into the locker room and, be question marks there. I don't think that we need to bring that in here. I think if he still has questions about whether he wants to play the game, let's, stay clear of him. Continue to use that draft capital to go pick up other players.
I would say.
Go ahead.
I think you'd probably bring in a mental health expert to probably get help from a mental health expert to evaluate him before you would make a decision like that. But like I said, if it's all good, absolutely make a push for it. If not, just look somewhere else.
Yeah. So when you look at, and we're talking about wide receivers, man, when you look at the New York Jets and some of the guys that they could possibly just bring back, you know what I mean? To me, Braxton Barrios is at the top of the list. Now, for you, is he a must resign?
Definitely. He's a pro. He's an all-pro. Should have been Pro Bowl return man. He fits the culture. He's a hard worker. He's got a very good repertoire with Zach Wilson, and like I said, I think he's proven it. And also, I like the idea of stealing guys from the Patriots and having them turn into something. It always puts a smile on my face.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, when you look at some of the guys that are coming out in the draft as well, particularly guys that are going to be in the first round. Now, Mel Kiper came out recently, with a little bit of a mock draft there.
Oh, yeah.
He had us taking Hamilton at 4, had us taking Drake London at 10. Now, I'm an SC guy. I love Drake. Okay, 10, What are your thoughts about that mock draft, and would you be okay with the New York Jets walking out of the first round with both of those players?
Safety, I'm not a big fan of. I still have Jamal Adams PTSD. But the wide receiver, I got no problem with. As long as, I know he got injured this season, so as long as he's all good to go, there's no any, long-term, there's no any serious issues with his injury, and he'll be healthy come, training camp and such, OTAs, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I look at it like this. Listen, I like Drake London a lot. I think he's phenomenal. But for me, when I look at that mock draft, I say, okay, safety at 4. I've been very clear that I do not think the New York Jets should be going safety at 4. We have far too many needs. I know people really love Kyle Hamilton. I'm not saying the kid is a bad player. I think he's a phenomenal safety, but still and yet he's a safety. I think some of the biggest issues that people kind of look at when they look at the Jets defense is they say, hey, we need a safety. We're getting bombed over. We need a pass rusher is what we need. The reason why people are able to throw the ball on us the way that they are.
Bombed over
exactly. Is because we can't get to the quarterback. Exactly. He's got all day long to throw the football. So with that said, we need to make sure that we attack the pass rush. I would honestly, at this point, I look at the board, and if there isn't a pass rusher there, I'd rather trade down than take a safety at that position. If everyone is gone on the board that I would want, who again, Linderbaum should still be there. I'm just saying, Tyler Linderbaum, just a great center. I would take that. There's also a lot of other guys as well. That could be out there as well. People talk about Neal too being there, taking that tackle. Some people want to take a tackle and move it to guard. We know how Jets Twitter works. I wouldn't do that. He could come out here and play right tackle. That'd be fine too. But I look at the situation as you need to address the trenches with those picks. You need to take edge so that you don't continue to get bombed over like you have in the past. I think that's the biggest issue on New York Jets defense. Now, I understand we got Carl Lawson. A lot of people like to talk about him as well. He's going to be phenomenal. I believe that when he comes back, I think he's going to be all right. But at the same time, he's coming back from a torn Achilles. You look at the Jets, you look at the Jets' luck in the past as well. Can we really depend on a guy coming off a torn Achilles to come back and immediately give us 15 to 16 sacks? Because that's what we need. We need a pass rusher. We need a disruptor. We need a guy that's going to absolutely cause havoc. And even if we were to get that, why can't we have two of them? Why can't we have more than just one guy that's going to get after the passer? When you look at the rest of these teams in the league, that's what they have. And the other, you know what I'm saying, my other argument against taking a safety is you got to protect Zach Wilson. For the first, half of the year, he was running for his life. That's how he jacked up his PCL. He was taking shot after shot after shot. You cannot continue to have that happen, because next year, if he keeps taking hits like he did this year, maybe next year is his ACL. And then how does that help him grow? How does that help him move forward? It doesn't. You also got to look at our running game as well. That's why I scoff when people say, hey, we got the top 10 center in Connor McGovern. I say to myself, well, our running game is ranked 29th. How is he a top 10 center? We're ranked 29th in the running game. If you add a piece on the offensive line that opens up holes, then guess what that does? That allows us to run the football effectively. Go ahead. Give me your take about that, man. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was actually checking the statistics on the offensive line. They did improve as the season went. I think they finished the season. I was checking. I know a lot of people don't like PFF. The one thing I do trust them on is their O-line ranking.
Okay.
They had the Jets ranked 11th to end the season.
Well, but did you watch the Jets early? I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, we ended the season. We gave up 8 sacks to the Bills. I know people want to say, well, that was due to injuries, but we gave up 6 to Carolina. I think we gave up 4 or 5 to Denver.
Oh,
we gave up 4 to
a lot
another
of the
team.
early stuff.
We were getting destroyed early, and I'm talking about getting smacked. Like, we were really getting rocked this season, and we saw Zach Wilson getting killed as well.
More of a chemistry issue. I think it was a chemistry issue. They had to learn this because they switch. It's a whole new coaching staff, new scheme.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that was chemistry because I think as the season tightened down, Fant became very good. At left tackle, Moses was very solid. AVT developed into his own. He's like he looks like an anchor there for another decade.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was more than just chemistry stuff, because again, we saw Greg Van Roten. He'd been bad for years. Connor McGovern has struggled.
Roten was bad. I was excited. I was excited when they brought in Lorde Du Tardif from the Chiefs.
LDT. Yep. And again, you got to figure out when you look at our offensive line, you got to see if this guy is even going to play, because he's dealing with the situation as well. So who knows what his future holds? We've got to ensure that we shore up this offensive line. I know they're probably going to attack guys in free agency,
there's also some other area. There's one area I think you haven't mentioned so far that also really needs to be addressed.
Go ahead.
Tight end.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we'll definitely talk about tight end as well. We'll address that as well. But I think the more pressing needs for me,
by the way, I was going to ask
offensive
you,
line.
have you seen the tight end from Ohio State's dad just trying to pleading with the Jets to draft his son?
Let me tell you something. The more pub that we can get, guys that want to come here, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. So if he's out there doing that, I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? But there's so many needs on this football team. But again, we're talking about wide receiver tonight. So my final question for you is going to be, when you look at the New York Jets and you look at free agency right now, there's a guy out there, Allen Robinson. He could end up being on the market. Is he a guy the New York Jets should be interested in your mind? Again, he only played 12 games this season, 410 yards. He's 29 years old. What are your thoughts about that before I let you go?
I definitely look at it. I don't try to look at more of a short-term deal or a deal that you can get out of easily in the later years, because the problem is wide receivers start to, dip as once they get over the 30 mark. Mm-hmm. So that's my big concern there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's 29. I love A-Rob. I was hoping that we would get him before he signed with the Bears, even though he was dealing with the injury. I didn't care. I wanted him, but he's there now. And again, I think, he might still have some gas left in that tank. And if he comes in here, I definitely think he could be a guy that could look to. So I want to thank you for calling in tonight, my friend. You have yourself a good night, all right?
You have yourself a good night.
All right.
Go Jets.
Listen, go Jets. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're here to talk about tonight. Nothing but the Jets. We're talking about Zach Wilson. We're talking weapons, man. Let's go. Salutes to everyone again in the chat. Salutes to all the savages. Salutes to everybody, man. NY Jets FL, always speaking the truth. Salutes to you as well, man. We're going to keep getting to these callers again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers again. When you call in, please be patient. We'll get to everybody. The lines are hot. And also make sure that your background is clear. All right. I know I got people that want to talk Jets. They love talking to me. I love, talking to y'all as well. But if you at your construction job on that jackhammer, don't call me when you're on the jackhammer. Get off the jackhammer, go down the street a little bit to where it's quiet, and let's talk Jets. And then after we're done, you can get back on that jackhammer. You know what I'm saying? But get off the jackhammer while you're talking to me. I need to hear your back. I need to hear you clearly, and I need to make sure that your background, is good to go. So we're going to get back to these lines. Next, I'm going to my guy, Angelo. Angelo, I'm coming directly to you. Angelo going to bring the heat. Salutes to you, Angelo. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. I'm hitting you with straight punches. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hit you with a straight uppercut right now. Is Braxton Barrios a must sign, man? Yes or no? Is he a must resign? Yes or no?
Hey, Joe, thanks for taking my call. And just to let you know, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, where it's freezing outside, but I'm at work, so I have to come outside to call your show, so it's nice and quiet. So I want you to know that I do take that seriously. So.
Thank you so much,
so
man. Thank you so much.
Too long.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I didn't
have to wait too long. Appreciate that. All right, so Braxton Barrios, I would say a must sign because of the chemistry with Zach Wilson. Mm-hmm. Zach Wilson is confident with Braxton on the field. Now I think you were talking about Calvin Ridley. I think or maybe Allen Robinson, but I feel like, I don't know, with Elijah Moore coming back,
mm-hmm.
He's kind of that slot guy too. So I don't know how you kind of mix him and Barrios, but I think you still need Barrios for special teams. And obviously Barrios has earned to get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. You got Corey Davis on the other side. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what we do with this wide receiver group. If we give Mims another shot next year, or if we draft somebody.
Ooh.
I don't think we really need to bring in another superstar receiver. I think we need a playmaking tight end. That guy Trey McBride or Isaiah Likely out of the draft. Or if we can get the guy from the Cowboys, Dan Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need a big time tight end. I think it's time to invest in a tight end. That's the quarterback's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Barrios is Zach Wilson's best friend. You've got to bring him back.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about, between if you're going to argue between $5 and $8 million a year, you got to get the deal done for your quarterback. Okay, I mean, enough is enough. I know Joe Douglas is kind of cheap, or let's just say he's a good negotiator, so he gets the best deal as possible. But I think at some point, Braxton's got to be top priority. He's got to be our top priority. And I know he is undersized, and but obviously you saw what he can do. So you got to bring him in, even if it's just for third down plays and gadget plays, or I don't know if he's a full-time receiver, but you need him on special teams, you need him on third downs.
Yeah,
that's it.
No, listen, you're bringing the heat early, and again, Angelo, I want to thank you for calling in. I know you have to step away from your job for a second. I salute to you. You're on work back. I understand you're a working man. Get that money. Now, I hear what you're saying. Hey, you don't want to see the New York Jets go out and necessarily spin a bunch. You don't think we need a big time, number one. But are you that confident in Corey Davis? Again, I'm a big Corey Davis guy, but we saw an injury really take him down this year, right? So he's going to be coming back from that. Also, we saw some drops as well that really shook a lot of the fan base. They were like, hey, how can we trust this guy? And he can't keep the ball in his hands. Does that have you with question marks as well going into the next season with him? Because if you don't sign somebody this year, right, he's going to be the guy you're going to be putting out there a number one wide receiver.
Well, it's a good point because, you could find someone else and have the same issue. You could spend a lot of money. That's why it's kind of better to draft young guys and let them develop. Obviously, it didn't work with Denzel Mims or, what was that receiver we took out of Ohio State? Something Smith in the second round. I mean, we just missed on receivers, I feel like, forever. And
Devin Smith.
With Corey Davis, Devin Smith. Oh, my gosh. Devin Smith. Okay, so
don't bring it. That's McCagnon, please. Oh, God. Oh, that was McCagnon.
Thank you for that, man.
Come on.
Yeah, we needed that. So again, bringing in Corey Davis, he had some good games. I feel like Zach was you know what I think it was is I think Zach was maybe looking too much at Corey Davis because he knew, okay, this is the guy. He's got the experience. He's our number one. I think maybe Zach was ultimately thinking, like, I got to get the ball to Corey. Corey's going to be my playmaker. Mm-hmm. And, so the receiver is going to be hard. And I think you got to give Corey Davis, obviously, we have him in a contract for another 2 or 3 years. Like I said, I think Corey's going to be Corey. I think he's going to be okay. Now, I would like to have another playmaker out there, and that's where I think the tight end comes into play. I mean, think about a guy like Kyle Pitts, because you look at him as a tight end, but he's really a receiver. If you can get a tight end like that can be a dual threat, a receiving threat, that's what we need. And that will take some pressure off of Corey Davis. That will take some pressure off Elijah Moore, Braxton Barrios. Going into next year, you're right. Is it going to be Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Braxton Barrios?
Yeah.
You're right. We're going to need someone else. Either we need Denzel Mims to step up, which again, I don't think that's going to happen, or you sit down with Calvin Ridley. If Calvin Ridley passes the interview, okay, so if his heart is in it, maybe give him a second round pick for him, but I'm not a big fan of that. I think we go for that receiver out of Arkansas, Traylon Burks.
Okay.
I think if we can flip our number 10 pick, because if you see, Washington has 11, Denver has 9. Mm-hmm. Denver might take the first quarterback there. I think Washington's going to take a quarterback. So if you see a team like the Saints, I've heard that want to move up, or maybe the Falcons or something like that. Well, maybe not the Falcons, but there's another team that would like to move up. There's just some trade scenarios. If we could flip that 10th pick, move down a couple spots, draft the Traylon Burks or Jamison Williams, and think about that. That would maybe get a first-round pick in 2023. That would be even adding more to the Jamal Adams trade that we made. So I think Joe Douglas has a lot of ways to go here, and this is why we brought Joe Douglas in. We are in a very complex situation where we need a lot of holes filled.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players in the draft. There's a lot of players in free agency. There's a lot of players you could trade for. So right now, attacking what we really need. So we got Corey Davis. Hopefully we can bring back Braxton Barrios. Elijah Moore looks really good. We don't have a tight end. So either you get on the phone with the Cowboy or Dan Schultz.
I hear what you. I don't mean to cut you off, Angelo. I hear what you're saying, but again, I think when we look at this tight end position, and I get it. We want a guy that's going to be able to be a pass catcher, but I think a big thing to that is shoring up the offensive line, because we could have drafted Kyle. Even if we would have drafted Kyle Pitts or bring any of those guys in, more than likely they're going to be asked to block, because we can't stop any pass rushers. And we saw that this year where we struggled to do that. So a big thing in getting that tight end in here is if we shore up our offensive line, I'm absolutely all about bringing tight end. I want to see us get a good tight end. We haven't really had a guy that could catch passes since Dustin Keller? That was a long time ago. That was a really long time ago. So I do think adding a tight end would be big for us, but I think adding that other weapon outside as well at wide receiver would be huge too, because again, it would open things up. It's hard. You got Corey Davis on one side. You got, whoever else on the other side that's going to be able to make plays. You got Elijah Moore, who's able to move around within the offense, whether it be in the slot or they move him around outside as well. He can do his thing. And then you got Braxton Barrios coming back and being able to add. I think that would be huge, huge, huge for Zach Wilson to just be able to go out there and chuck the football around. But I do, again, like you said as well, think that we should definitely be looking for a pass-catching tight end. And with the guy, Trey Burks, I think is his name, the tight end that a lot of people are talking about taking in the second round, that could be a guy that we target too. But another guy as well that I wanted to talk to you about in that first round, because you talked about, possibly going after that guy, Trey Burke from Arkansas. I want to talk to you a little bit about Jamison Williams from Alabama. Now, he tore his ACL. He's a guy that could slide down a bit because of this injury. My question before I let you go is, would he be a guy that you would look to target? Because that injury could slide him down a bit, but he's a guy that's a physical specimen, man.
So let me bring this up. Obviously, if Denzel Mims worked out, this is why we drafted Denzel Mims, right? To be this guy that we're looking for right now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just suck that we're in this situation now because of that. Yeah. And again, we could have had Chase Claypool or Van Jefferson, or even say from the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, we shot ourselves in the own foot. I mean, we're having this discussion now, and we could be looking at other pieces on our team instead of this, because this is why we drafted Denzel Mims, to be this guy. And now we're here 2 years later doing the same dang thing, man. It's so frustrating. But, I mean, it's hard to hit on every draft pick, but it's just like, what did they see in Denzel Mims? I mean, what obviously it didn't work out. So, again, Jamison Williams, because, listen, we have so many holes on the defense, man. Our defense was the worst last year. So it's going to be interesting to see on the number 4 pick. Where we go with that number 4 pick. I think if it goes Aiden Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Evan Neal, then we're in a situation where you're right. We got to draft Kyle Hamilton, or, I know you don't want to do the safety thing, or maybe the other offensive tackle from NC State.
Yeah.
But again, do we really need offensive tackle? I mean, we got Mekhi Becton we drafted. We got George Stanton did really good. We really need a guard or a center. So maybe it's wise to trade out of that number 4 pick if those top 3 are taken. But I have seen on some recent mock drafts that Kevin Thibodeau has dropped in the number 4. And if we can get that defensive end on the number 4 pick, I think you definitely need to target someone for the offense with the number 10 pick, or even maybe the linebacker, Kobe Dean, or something like that. But it just, to see what we get in free agency, Jamison Williams, I would have loved at 10 before the ACL. That's why I was kind of happy. I'm like, okay, well, we dropped to 10. No pressure now, because now we can draft Jamison Williams. That's kind of where he was projected to go.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the ACL tear, I mean, maybe you could trade out of 10 to go to 18, or trade down with Pittsburgh or New Orleans and still get him in the late first round. I think if you're looking at Jamison Williams, you don't need to take him at 10. You can trade down, get a first-round pick next year or a couple extra picks, take Jamison Williams probably between the 15 to 25 range. I think he drops because of that.
Yeah. Or
a Trayvon Burks. But I think you're right. I think, in order to progress Zach Wilson, we need to give him weapons.
Yeah.
And I like Duvernay as the guard. McGovern, we are paying him, I think, $10 million. And I think Joe Douglas knows we're kind of stuck with McGovern there. I think if we can get another guard, maybe with our second pick, man, we have so many holes. And then I think our defense, I think you've seen it with the secondary. He's happy. I think he's happy with our secondary. I think we could add a safety.
Yep.
I think he's going to attack defensive line, which we need. I think we need linebackers.
Yeah.
And again, you're right. I think we do need to get a receiver. So whether it's someone in free agency or drafting someone with our second first-round pick and maybe trading down, because of those receivers are kind of falling in that middle first round. Number 10, we would be picking the number 1 receiver. All right, I don't think a receiver is going to go before that. So that's another good thing. We'll be picking the best receiver in the draft if that's what it's going to take.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't think a receiver is going to go before that, and that's kind of it. So I heard Drake London, his name been thrown around. I think those guys are all probably between pick 10 and pick 25.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we'll see if Joe Douglas can swing the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, we're talking about the Denzel Mims deal, right? That's what we did with Denzel Mims. We're like, oh, we traded back, we got this pick, and we got Denzel Mims.
Yeah, he was good in college. He was a guy that had Adam Gase was terrible, but we saw big potential out of him in that offense. He was making plays. There were balls that were thrown up where we were like, there's no way he's going to come down with that, and Denzel would come down with it. That's why I think everyone was so excited about him coming into this year, and for whatever reason, he's just not fitting within the offense that we have right now. So unless something dramatically changes,
now that we're coaching
I don't know. I love the guy. I love him, Angelo, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now that we're coaching the Senior Bowl, there's no excuses this year. You guys are on the field. You're going to be coaching these guys. You should get an up-close look at these guys. I mean, obviously, the Senior Bowl is not everybody in the draft.
Yep.
It's not everybody in the draft. Let's be honest with you. It's a lot of guys you haven't heard of. But I think we're going to have a lot of success this year. And I do see Joe Douglas making some trades. I would caution about trading up. I know like I said, last year when we lost those 2 third-round picks to get AVT, which was, I think, a good trade. I like that. But, having those 2, we draft well between the 3rd and 5th rounds. You've seen that. Joe Douglas, Bryce Hall, Michael Carter, Obviously, we have some whiffs. And you know what, too? Let's not forget about Cameron Clark. I know he had that big injury last year.
Yep.
I don't know if he's coming back. So that's another guy to keep an eye on because he was our third or fourth round pick. Yeah.
Talk about it. Yeah, listen. I think, Angelo, listen. I'm right there with you. I look at the situation and I say to myself, there's some things that could be moved and utilized, especially with some of the picks that we have. There's some trades that we can make. I am not against trading up, though. I will say that, and I'll let you go after this. But I am not against trading up, especially, again, when you look at what we were able to – we gave away a fourth-round pick to move up and get what I personally thought was the best guard in the draft that year, and we're seeing him go out there regardless of how weak everything else is on the offensive line. He's played well this entire year. His first year in the league, people are saying that he should have been a Pro Bowler. I'm saying he should have been a Pro Bowler. You got other, stud offensive linemen out there in the league saying he should have been a Pro Bowler. The way he's going out there and playing ATV is unbelievable. So I'm not against it. As long as we don't just give up, the shirts off our back, I have no issues with us moving up and making the trade, especially, again, when we trust so much in Joe Douglas. Now, if this was Mike McCagnon, I wouldn't want us to do anything because that guy had no business of knowing what he was doing when he was training up. He would just give stuff away, man. Boo to that, man. I'm so glad that he's gone. But listen, Angelo, I got to get back to these lines, man. The lines are hot. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. You have yourself a good night, my friend.
Good night, Joe. We'll see you, man.
All right. I'll see you. Thank you so much. Salutes. Go Jets. That's what I'm talking about. We talking about Jets tonight, people. Let's go. We're going to get back to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Next, I'm getting to my guy, Michael. Colin will come directly to you after Michael. Michael, salutes to you. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, my friend. It's good to hear from you. Man, give me your thoughts about this New York Jets wide receiver core. When you look at it, what is your assessment of it at this point?
Good to hear from you, Joe. I pretty much what the last caller had, but the issue is that I'm not so high. I mean, it's a great thing that they're going to be doing the Senior Bowl. Mm-hmm. And there's a receiver in the Senior Bowl out of Nevada. His name is Dobbs. And if you read the skinny on him, he fits LaFleur's offense very well, especially on wide receiver screens and straight, a very deep threat and very, very fast. Yeah. I don't think that you should go after a number one receiver right now. That's not the priority. The priority is offensive line, really getting more into LaFleur's offense, which means you need to run the ball and you need to control the ball, control the clock with the tight end and the running backs. And to do that, you need offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. Basically, we were playing with maybe only two this year outside of Fant and AVT. The problem is, I mean, Moses played great. I mean, he was just so reliable. But the thing is that did you watch any of the bowl games?
I caught a couple of them, like late, yeah.
Okay, well, the Rose Bowl, if anyone watched it, there were two receivers from Ohio State that are going to come out next year that are fantastic. And one of them is Harrison Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. Phenomenal. So getting that number one receiver now would be a mistake.
Well,
I wouldn't waste a pick on it early. I mean, I would get a receiver for depth in the fourth round, but not early at all, and wait till next year. You have other receivers coming out, but then you're going to have more of an established offense, and everyone will be playing. Because this year is still another building year. Yeah. Everyone's, we have to win games. No, you're still building. This last year was Douglas and Saleh's first year together. This is their second year. So regardless of how long Douglas has been here, it's really his second year with this crew. Yeah. Well, and he drafted for this crew, and you saw how well he did.
Yeah. Listen, Michael, I hear what you're saying. I get it. Now, again, I don't think we should be headhunting for wide receivers early in the draft. And again, this kind of really hinges on what we do in free agency. But when we look at free agency, because that's what we got coming up first, I'm saying, listen, we got $54 million. All right. I think like 19 of that is going to be given to, if our draft stuff pans out, okay, we got to sign those picks. But you got dudes that could be in free agency that could be ridiculous. Listen, I'm going to ask you the question right now. If Devontae Adams is out there and he hits this market, like we've been hearing that if Aaron Rodgers is not there, he ain't going to want to be there. There's been a lot of commotion going on in Green Bay. If he hits the free agency market, you telling me you don't want the New York Jets to go after this man?
No, not for $30 million a year. No, you got more other holes that you got to fill, and that was how you up.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, not for $30 million a year because you have so many other holes that you have to fill. And remember,
you think you'd have to give him $30 million?
You really get everything going.
You think you'd have to give him?
That's what he's going to be looking for. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. That's what he's going to be looking for.
Go ahead.
All right. That's what he's going to be looking for. And what you should be doing is fix the safety situation, get some backup linebackers, right? So that way, when you draft, I would still go heavy offense. But however, if the edge rush is there, and again they're doing the Senior Bowl, if the edge rush is not there, Jermaine Johnson out of FSU, he's on their team to coach at the Senior Bowl. This guy had 14 sacks. He's been quietly under the radar, and he had nobody else on the team, not like Hutchinson and everybody else. This guy had nobody on the team, and he had recorded 14 sacks. I watched him against Notre Dame. He blew up their tackles. He hurt two of the tackles and blew up the other one all game long. So this guy is really good. You could probably get him in the late first, even second round.
Yeah.
And if you, with the number 10 pick or even 18 pick, the people are telling you they're going to trade with the New Orleans Saints, you could pick up, Dean from Georgia.
Yeah.
So now you have the linebacker, you got the edge rusher, you pick up Linderbaum. All of a sudden, you're starting to fill a lot of holes that of critical need.
Yeah.
Another guy to look for probably in the fourth round, too, is Chad May from Tennessee, the guard tackle. He played every position on the line. And he's a mauler. He's like Trey Smith that came out last year that Kansas City had that made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So these are guys that, they're going to be coaching.
Yeah.
So you got to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Now, give me your thoughts on this, Michael, because there's a lot of people out here that, we're talking about what we could end up doing in the first round of the draft as well. There's a lot of people that are really hung up on Kyle Hamilton and taking him at 4. I've been against.
I hate that pick.
Okay. Give me your thoughts on this, and give me your thoughts on him as a player, because I like him. I think he's a great safety, but he's not what we need. We have so many other needs.
I'm a Notre Dame fan. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I've been watching him for a long time. The thing is that that's not what we need for the Jets right now, because you have other items that you can have. I mean, if we were more established, if this was next year, and we established that there's one more player on the line that we need or whatever, yeah, then you can take the pick like that. I hear a lot of other guys on podcasts saying he's generational, he's a unicorn. You know what? That's great, but okay, that's a unicorn by himself because he has no supporting cast. If you look on the Jets defense and you're like how bad we were, yeah, you know why? Because we only have one linebacker, Mosley.
Yep.
And if you blocked him, no one else tackled. So it's not that, we were, so bad. It's just you didn't have the horses to work with.
Exactly.
You got to put the horses in there. Yeah, he's going to be a horse, but just one. You need more than one.
Yeah.
So I would, work with getting Dean, getting this guy Jermaine Johnson, picking up Kobe Bryant later in the third round, or even because you've traded a pick, established a later third round pick, picking up Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati as a cornerback. Now you're, all of a sudden you're doing depth and you pick up the safeties in free agency. Hey, you fixed a lot without even doing a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Give me your thoughts about Drake London at 10.
That's the thing. And
give me your thoughts about Drake London at 10. I love Drake London. I think he's phenomenal.
I saw him play against Notre Dame. I saw him play against Notre Dame when he got hurt. He was dominating.
Yep.
He was really dominating. Big body, and he's playing a slot. I can't believe that. And that's just a mismatch made in heaven right there.
Yeah.
So that's nice. But again, I wouldn't want to pick a receiver in the first round. Not now. If you had Thibodeau, my second pick would be Linderbaum.
I have been trying to tell people about Linderbaum, and nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to listen. Go ahead, Michael. Nobody wants to listen.
If you watched any tape on AVT, he's mauling people, especially if he hits a defensive back. He's burying them in the ground, throwing him out of bounds. I mean, he's really mean.
Yeah.
So you get another guy next to him that's just as mean. Oh my gosh! Now because to run the ball and to control the clock, you got to control the offensive line, and you got to do that with nasty guys.
Yeah.
And you got to force your will. And these are the type of guys you got to draft. You know, and unfortunately, this is not going to be a pretty draft because people are like, I want a receiver, I want this, I want. Guys, it's not one offensive lineman. They're 5.
Yep.
All right, you only drafted 2.
Yeah.
You got 3 spots left open.
Yeah.
You know, the big thing early on was Cameron Clark. The last gentleman mentioned him. There was a competition between Alex Lewis, Cameron Clark, and Van Roten. Van Roten was the absolute third last option. Cameron Clark, thank God the guy could still walk. He really got hurt.
Yeah.
Lewis quit, and you're left with this guy, and he hurt Becton the first game, got blown out of his position, go to the opposite side.
Yep.
I mean, come on, this guy was a rag. You know, great days, Long Island and everything. That's great, but come on, really? You know, and you had to go get somebody from Kansas City that got beat out by Trey Smith. That's the whole reason why he wanted to play. But he was a backup too. You know, everyone's like, oh, look how good he is. He's not that good. You want to go to a Super Bowl, you need top end guys.
Yeah.
You know, Tardif, he's a backup.
Yeah.
And a quality backup for a guy who gets hurt or twists an ankle or has a high ankle sprain out for 3 or 4 games. That's a great backup.
Yeah.
But that's all he is a backup.
Yeah.
He's not your front line. If that's your front line and your backup is Van Roten or Feeney, that's why we only won 4 games, guys.
Yeah. And
okay?
That's what I keep pressing that, and I keep pushing. And you're bringing up great points, Michael. That's exactly what I keep saying. Addressing the offensive line and doing what it takes to better everything up front will open things up. And I talk about a lot about protecting Zach Wilson because he's the future of our franchise. He's playing the most valuable position in football.
When he had time, he was great.
Exactly. When he has time, he can decipher things. We see the arm strength. We see all that. He's the guy that's supposed to lead us. But also as well, when you look at our running game, when you look at our running game as well, if you better the offensive line, it betters our running game. Well, what is the greatest thing you can give a young quarterback? A good running game.
No one's talking about that. But if you build up the offensive line like we were just talking, defensive line, a pick, either the second pick in the second round, or if you can grab an extra second round pick because of a trade.
Yep.
The guy to pick up would be Breece Hall out of Iowa State. This guy, for the last 4 years, has scored the most touchdowns in college football, except for 1 year again with Najee Harris, and he was only 1 touchdown behind him. He scored, and all this guy does is score touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's great, and he would be a fantastic complement to Michael Carter behind a mean offensive line. And you pick up Trey McBride or even Jake Ferguson, no one's talking about. Another guy that's on that coaching staff for the Senior Bowl. You get guys like this where you start establishing this part of the offense for the next year. Then you add the number 1 receiver.
Yes. Okay.
Dynamite. Then you're talking about playoffs and making some damage.
Yeah.
Not, we need a receiver because you want to win games. It's not about winning games right now. Yeah, you're going to win 7, 8 games next year. That's fine. But the thing is, you got to establish how not to lose.
Yeah. Well,
That's what you got to establish first, and then you start winning.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of capital, Michael. We'll see, but I'll tell you what: if one of these guys, slides in, especially again, if Allen Robinson is out there, I wouldn't mind the New York Jets, taking a shot at him. He's a guy that can come in and still.
If you want, you talk about free agent. That's fine.
Yeah, if you talk about some free agent, we
but
got a
look
little
at what you did last year.
Yeah.
Look at what you did last year with Corey Davis. This guy was fumbleitis. He couldn't catch anything after a while.
Yeah.
He was good in the beginning, but then things were bouncing off his chest because he forgot to catch with his hands.
But that's more of a reason to go after somebody again. Is wondering, can you trust him going into this season to be our number 1 wide receiver, like you said as well? There were some drops. We saw injuries. We saw drops.
Elijah Moore is your number 1.
Okay.
Elijah Moore is your number 1, and he's going to be like Terry. He's going to be like Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Give him time.
All right, we'll see. Listen, Michael, I got to get back to these lines. Listen, you need to call in more. I like hearing from you. Right, we go back and forth, all right? You have yourself a good night, my friend.
Yep.
All right.
You too. Good deal.
Listen, Michael, we're going to give him a round of applause, man. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Let's give Michael a round of applause. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Michael called in with some fire. I love hearing from Michael. We always go back and forth. We talk about the draft again. We're going to have so many discussions about multiple parts of this football team. We're going to be talking about the draft and all that stuff all the way through. But we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. We're talking Jets. We're talking Zach Wilson. We're talking O-line. But we are talking wide receiver tonight. What are the New York Jets going to do at wide receiver? Do they need a number one? Are they still in the market for a number one? What's going on? Do you trust Corey Davis? I got questions. I got questions. I'm going to Colin next. This is my guy, Colin, man. Colin always comes with some hot takes. Salute to you, Colin. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Colin, give me your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts about Denzel Mims? Could you see him cut or traded this offense, this offseason, excuse me? Would you be surprised if that happened?
I won't be. Hey, Joe. Good evening, first of all.
What's going on, man?
I won't be surprised if Denzel gets cut or traded. But I still have like the hopes for him. Believe it or not, I still feel like maybe he needs to hit that reset button or that staple button or whatever it is it's called, and
Colin, can I tell you a secret?
Learn to play.
Can I tell you a secret? I think at this point, the only people that still believe in Denzel Mims is me and you. It's just me and you. It's just me and you. It's a lonely club, but we're a part of it.
There's a few people that.
Go ahead.
I think there's some people still believe in him. But yeah, I think if we keep him, it doesn't cost us anything to keep him. So, you might as well, keep him and give him another year. But I don't agree with us like going after like a Devontae Adams or something like that. First of all, I don't think those guys would even want to come to the Jets. A lot of these guys, superstars are going to want to go to teams where they can win a Super Bowl. The way I look at like a Devontae Adams, you have Aaron Rodgers. You're on a much better team, and between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they only won one Super Bowl, right? I don't even know if Devontae Adams was on the team when they won. So, with that much talent that they have there, and they still struggle to go to the Super Bowl. To me, it doesn't make sense that we would go and sign a guy like him, pay him millions of dollars. That is not going to get us to the Super Bowl. So I don't think right now, like going out and spending that much money on any one superstar guy is going to do much. We may double our wins, but at the same time, I think like if it's like the icing on the cake, and you needed that guy to get you from like being in the playoffs year after year to like getting to the championship games, that's one thing. But to go get him for a 4-13 team or whatever, I don't think we need to spend the money right now there. I think the guys we have, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Braxton Barrios right now.
I was about to say Braxton Barrios.
They're gonna nickel and dime. They're gonna nickel and dime this guy, and he may end up walking.
Wow.
So Joe Douglas has like this mental, I guess, block where if he thinks a player doesn't worth more than a certain dollar amount, then they're just gonna, he's gonna actually let that walk. So I feel like with Braxton Barrios, like, they're not going to come to agreement anytime soon.
Well, I would hope that they would be able to step up and get a deal done with Braxton Barrios. Again, I understand, and we've seen that in the past. I think we saw it with Robbie, where from all the reports where Carolina literally just beat us by like $1 million, maybe if that, and he ends up walking, right? And everybody was upset. Now, I hope that, again, because Braxton Barrios not only gives us something from the wide receiver perspective, running routes out on the field, but he also gives us something in special teams. So that's a double up right there. You get a 2-for-1. So I would hope that they would look at that, look at the need, look at the fact that we haven't had a decent kick returner since I don't know when. This guy just made first team All-Pro as a kick returner, and I would hope that they would do what it takes to ensure that he gets signed and brought back. I hope that Joe Douglas does not nickel and dime and jack this up. I think, me personally, for our football team, that Braxton Barrios is a must resign. Again, not just because of what he does out on the field as a wide receiver, but we see the special teams aspect, which is huge. Field position is huge, especially when you got a young quarterback that's still trying to learn, how to move the football down the field. Him putting us in solid positions was huge for us this year on the field. So I hope that they can get that done, man.
Yeah, the question would be though is what's your limit on what do you think
I think Braxton
right?
Barrios should be $8 to $9 million a year. $8 to $9 million a year. That's where I think he should be. Again, he can again, players can try to command whatever it is that they want to command. That's fine. But I think again, he seems like a very realistic guy. Again, I know with that All-Pro, the price just went up just a little bit, but I think $8 to $9 million a year, that'd be fine. But anything crazier than that, if he's asking for something crazier, then maybe he does walk after that, So I don't know about that.
Well,
but when you
right
look
now,
at
what I'm hearing,
go ahead.
Yeah. Most guys I hear right now are saying, 5'6". So, 8, 9 sounds like a bit of stretch as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with him though.
Yeah,
it'll be a shame if they can't come to an agreement.
Yeah, I think, like I said,
it seems like every time we get a guy that does well, then we can't keep him. We can't sign them.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do because I think
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think he'll. Again, I think $8 to $9 million is what I think he could fall, and I think that'd be fine. Again, for his presence and what he brings, I wouldn't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? What he does. Now, when you look at our wide receiver core, I'm looking at, hey, like you said as well, we maybe shouldn't add, but there's a guy, Mel Kiper, who's looking at it. He says, hey, we should take Hamilton at 4, Drake London at 10. What are your thoughts about that, man? Would you be okay with the New York Jets walking away from the first round with those two players?
Well, first of all, I think for Joe Douglas, right, the last 2 drafts, it was hit or miss, right? But this draft, we have 4 guys, 4 picks in the top with 38, 40 picks. Mm-hmm. They have to be very clever about how they make these picks. We have so many needs. It's like you can throw almost any name at the 4 and the 10 pick, and it sounds like it's a good pick. But they have to be very clever at how they make those picks.
Yeah.
Me personally, I know you're not a big fan of Hamilton, but we drafted Zach Wilson because he was generational talent, right? And our defense was really terrible last year. Mm-hmm. If you get a guy like Hamilton at safety, then you don't have to worry about safety for probably the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you're getting a stud safety at that 4th pick. So that's how I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at, you have that 4th pick. Mm-hmm. You can't come away with the 3rd best edge or, a player that's probably not a number 1, like blue chip, what they call blue chip, whatever player, mm-hmm. right? So for me, that if you can't trade out of that spot, I think you got to come away with the best talented person at that spot. And you get a guy like Hamilton at safety, then you don't have to pick. You don't have to worry about safety probably for the next, like I said, 4, 5, 6 years. So
here's my thing with that, and
then
I hear that.
At the 10th spot, you just go.
Yeah, and again, Colin, I don't mean to cut you off, but here's my take about that, and I'll let you get your take about what you would think at taking Drake at 10. But my issue with that take is this: I understand, people believe he's going to be people believe he's a generational safety. That's fine, but you don't need generational safeties to win in this league. We've seen examples of that. Well, the last time we went to the AFC Championships, we went back-to-back. Jim Leonard was our safety. He wasn't a generational safety. He was a decent safety. He was a guy that understood Rex's scheme. He understood where he needed to be. He understood how to communicate and all that stuff back there, and he made his plays. But he wasn't generational. He wasn't an Ed Reed. He wasn't a Troy Polamalu. But when you look at all the other pieces on our defense, everything else, when you talk about impact positions, corner, we generated pass rush due to blitzes. You look at our offense where we literally had an offensive line that hid garbage-ass Mark Sanchez. We had a running game that literally just dominated the time of possessions. Our wide receiver core was solid. We had what it took at those positions to carry. You don't need a generational safety to win in this league. And honestly, when we had a guy, right, Jamal Adams, everybody loved him, and I was saying, hey, we should get rid of this guy, right? I was the first guy screaming that. Guess what? Jamal Adams had an all-pro Pro Bowl season. He had a ton of sacks. I think he almost broke the record. The last year he was here almost broke the record for sacks as a safety. He was doing everything, right? And we were terrible. We were terrible. Safeties don't have the same impact on games that pass rushers or offensive line or any of that stuff. So even if Hamilton is there and he's like the only option I have, I would rather trade down, gather picks, and draft other things, pass rusher, offensive line a little bit later on in the draft, than take a safety. Because I just do not think that we are not even nowhere near close enough to be taking a luxury pick like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like, and like you said, Ed Reed on the Ravens, right? The Honey Badger, these guys, you get a guy like that, they change your defense, So, if you can trade out and then, grab other players, but I just feel like at that pick, right? If he falls to you, like, why not just take him at that pick and, have that position locked down for the next 4 or 5 years. You don't have to go into the draft next year again and saying, hey, we got to draft a safety in the third pick, the third round or fourth round pick or something like that.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah. I'd rather take Neal or Lindenbaum before I would take Neal, Lindenbaum before I would ever take him. I would rather protect my quarterback than take a safety. That's just my thing. But go ahead and give me your take about possibly taking Drake at 10, and I'll let you go.
Here's the thing, though, right? So, yeah, but here's the thing. So we still have the 10 pick. So, you can still go and get a Tyler Linderbaum on the 10 pick. I honestly prefer to take him over taking like a Drake London, like taking a wide receiver, period. I don't think we need to take a wide receiver in the first round. I think you can get that get that in the second round, or you can even get it on the third round. You can get a wide receiver. You can go out and get Zach Wilson, a tight end, right? In the second round, you have 2 picks. You can get him a good tight end, or you can even get him a tight end in the third round. But I don't think you invest the first 2 picks in a wide receiver. There's too many other needs. You can get a corner, you can get an edge. There's so many other guys you can get on that 10 pick. So that's the only thing I didn't agree with that that mock draft where it's saying get the wide receiver.
Yeah. No, listen, Colin, I hear you, man. You're bringing fire with your takes. I got to get back to these lines. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, Colin. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. All right, my friend?
Yeah, I keep missing you. You haven't been doing the Tuesday shows, I noticed. So
yeah, I got my schedule. My schedule. Everybody be getting on me, but believe me, I'll let y'all know. When I bounce, I let y'all know, and I'll send out my alert. But salutes to you, Colin. I want to thank you for calling in. You have a good night, man.
All right.
Listen, people, I know y'all be getting on me, all right? We push the show out when we can. You know what I'm saying? It's tough schedule. I see we got a tough crowd. People all on my back. I'm going to get to everybody, all right? We talk Jets when we can. Got a tough schedule going on. But again, 515-602-9639, 6029639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. We're talking Jets. We're talking Zach Wilson, wide receivers, Kyle Hampton at 4. Please don't do it. Whatever you do, Joe Douglas, please don't do that. Please don't take a safety at 4. Don't do it. I don't want that. I don't want it. Next, I'm going to my guy, Steve. Steve, I'm coming directly to you. Salutes to you, Steve. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Steve, give me your thoughts about this New York Jets wide receiver core. Do you think we lack a number 1 wide receiver presence?
Hey, Joe. Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show again tonight. It's always great talking to you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for calling in, man. You know, I enjoy talking to you as well about this team.
Yeah, man. So now we could definitely now talk about this because now we're in the off season. You know, here is the thing about the receiver position. You know, I thought our receiver position was better from this previous season than it was in 2020. I mean, when I look at this receiving team at the receiver position, you know, I think Corey Davis would definitely be a good number 2 receiver for us. You know, Elijah Moore back with us as a slot receiver. Also, Braxton Barrios should definitely be re-signed coming back. Like maybe give him a 2-year deal. But the thing is, the 3 receivers I don't see coming back are Jamison Crowder, Keelan Cole, and Denzel Mims. And this is the reason why. Jamison Crowder, you know, he's been with us for 3 years, and his contract is up. Listen, I did like Jamison Crowder when he played for us for these past 3 years. I think he did exceptionally well for us. However, though, I think it is time to move on from Crowder because I think we could find a better receiver in the offseason than him. Keelan Cole, you know, he was a veteran 1-year deal. You know, I thought Keelan Cole, you know, he made some awesome catches during the season. I just don't think he's going to re-sign back this year. And the thing is with Denzel Mims is, listen, I did love Denzel Mims when we first got him in 2020. And everybody all thought that in 2021 he was going to make a big leap this year. But unfortunately, the biggest problem is about Denzel Mims is with this new coaching system that we had, he just doesn't fit into the system, Joe. Now, here is the thing. I don't know what is going to happen with him. I personally wouldn't mind if we did trade him away and maybe get a couple of picks back for him or even like a 3rd, 4th, or 5th round pick back for him. But the thing is, Joe, Denzel Mims to me just does not fit into this system at all. Now, if you're going to be looking at a number 1 receiver, you know, I've been hearing all the talks, you know, with Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley and DK Metcalf. Out of those 3, the only one I would stay away from is Ridley. Now, I'm not saying Calvin Ridley is a bad player. I think he's a very good wide receiver. He's not the best wide receiver I've ever seen play, but he is good. But there's one big problem. He's been having some off-the-field issues and been having some mental issues, which is why at one point last season he ended up walking away from football because he needed help. So, honestly, I think the Jets should stay away from there.
No,
Amari Cooper, I could see them looking at.
Yeah.
Looking at because obviously Dallas needs their cap space, and obviously he's obviously, you know, because apparently the Cowboys are having issues with their cap space going into the off season. But let me tell you something, Joe. There is one receiver I would love the Jets to get, and he to me is a number 1 receiver and could use a new start. Big DK Metcalf. And let me tell you something. DK Metcalf is phenomenally talented. I loved him from the draft back in 2019. You know, he was one of the biggest deals the Seahawks ever made. I would love to see the Jets go out and make a trade for big DK Metcalf.
Now,
Joe,
hold on a second, Steve. Hold on. Now, you talking that talk. You know, you talking that talk right now. I was going to talk to you about DK. Now, you're talking about, hey, you'd like to see the New York Jets make a trade. If you're the New York Jets general manager, what are you willing to give up for DK Metcalf? Because you know he ain't coming cheap. You know that. You know he ain't coming cheap. He's still on that deal. What are you willing to give up for DK?
I'm going to say this. I think if we would have to get DK Metcalf, I wouldn't mind giving up our first round pick, which was the pick we got from Seattle, and we would give that back to Seattle. And I think we could also give them a second round pick as well.
Wow, okay.
A second round pick as well, like for next year as well. Mm-hmm. No, I do agree with you, Joe. DK Metcalf is not going to be cheap.
Yeah, he's the real deal now.
The general manager of the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, Joe? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. He's the real deal. We're listening to you.
I'm sorry.
He's the real deal. Go ahead, man.
DK Metcalf. I'll tell you one thing. The Seahawks general manager, John Schneider, who is an excellent GM, and he's been with Seattle for many years. Trust me, he's going to want a lot if the Jets are going to go trade for Metcalf. I mean, listen, this is how I think that should happen. And also, I think what we would probably do is maybe give up another second round pick as well for the following season to get DK. Let me tell you something. I would do that in a heartbeat. We have the cap, the draft cap to do it. Okay. And honestly, DK Metcalf has not been happy with Seattle. Yeah. So Joe, go ahead.
No, listen, Steve. I hear you. Two second round picks and a first rounder. I don't know about that. That's a lot of capital, and especially with a football team that has a lot of holes. But I understand, the need that you're talking about when you want to address that number one wide receiver. You want to get that elite talent. And let me tell you something. DK Metcalf is that guy. DK Metcalf is a guy that you can chuck the football and he will go up and get it. Solid route runner, and he can catch the football very well as well. He's a guy that is unbelievably athletic. I mean, he's got it. Like, we get it. He's just phenomenal. But that's a lot of capital to give up. And then on top of that, you also got to looking to extend him as well. The second that you trade for him, you got to get an extension too, and you're going to have to pay out of your nose as well. You're going to have to pay that too. So
oh no, I agree.
I don't like necessarily that much capital, but I'm not knocking you wanting that need. I understand you want to better the situation for Zach Wilson. Go ahead.
Now, okay. So obviously, Joe, because I know you were talking more about the wide receiver position, but now I want to talk to you about the draft of what I think the Jets should do in the first round. Now, here is the thing that I really hope that happens. I am hoping for the first round that one of those two pass rushers magically drops at number 4 for us. Listen, I don't see. Okay, Joe, hang on one second.
Hold on a second, Steve. Before we get there, though, I understand you wanted to talk a little bit about that, but before we get there, we were talking a little bit about the wide receiver position, and you were touching on some things. I wanted to go back to that before we got to the draft because we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. Now, you talked a little bit about, Jamison Crowder being gone, Keelan Cole being gone. You want to move on from those guys. Those are positions that you got to fill. You know what I'm saying? You got to look to fill those guys and bring some guys back in here. But there's also a guy that could be re-signed as well that I think is a must re-sign, and it's Braxton Barrios. Now, when you look at him, what exactly is he a must re-sign in your mind? And if he is, what exactly is the most you're willing to give him? I say 7, 8, 9 million. There's people that are saying less than that. What are your thoughts on that?
I give him a 2-year deal of $12 million, $6 million guaranteed.
And that's the $6 million is the most you're going to give him, period.
Yes.
Okay. So if he wants more, you're willing to let him walk after that?
If we would have to let him walk, then yes.
Okay, Steve, you driving a hard bargain.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't.
Okay, go ahead.
I wouldn't overspend on Braxton Barrios, Joe.
No, listen, I hear you. I respect that. Like I said, I'm 7, 8, 9 million is where I'm at. If he pushes it, I'll go 8. Again, because of the kick returning ability, the ability that he gives us out there, wide receiver as well. I can see that. But like you said as well, 6 in that range is fine too. But I don't want to see a guy walk away that has given us so much and it really helped out our special teams the way that he has. Now, going into the draft for you, would you target a wide receiver in the draft? Say we don't take one, we're not able to get DK Metcalf, who is the guy that, you absolutely want to go get. Who's a guy that you would look to target at number 10? Would Drake London be a guy that you would be interested in?
The other receiver, though, that a lot of people aren't talking about, and if he was there at number 10, and if, let's say, we couldn't get the thing done at receiver during free agency, I wouldn't mind getting the guy from Ohio State. I forgot what his name is, though.
Garrett Wilson.
His first name is Chris.
There's a guy from Ohio State. Garrett Wilson is one of the guys that's from Ohio State up there.
Well, Garrett Wilson is one of them. He's also up there, too. But there was another guy, too, that was there at number 10. But
Chris Oaklave. I think Chris Oaklave is the other guy you're talking about. Chris Oaklave.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe him. But Garrett Wilson would be the first one. The other one, Joe, that I wouldn't mind us doing is, listen, I know that we are paying Connor McGovern $10 million a year, $10 million a year. But the thing is, I wouldn't mind at the 10th pick of us getting, the guy who you love, Lindblom from Iowa.
Yep, Tyler Linderbaum.
He, to me, is the best center in the draft. Listen, it's just that the thing is, I think Connor McGovern is he's not the best center, trust me. And everybody all says that he's a very good center. I'm sorry, I said this to a lot of people. He is not a good center. I think he stinks. I think he stinks at times. But now, here's the other thing now I'm going to say next, Joe. Now going back to the 4th pick, as of right now, this is what I think what should happen at the 4th pick. I said before that I think that the two needs that the Jets need in the top of the round is either a pass rusher, or an offensive lineman. Now, the prediction is that the first 2 picks, which is going to be done by Jacksonville and Detroit, they may get the 2 best pass rushers, Aiden Hutchinson and the kid from Oregon. I can't remember his name.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
I think the best player to get at number 4, if he is available, you have to get Evan Neal from Alabama. He will take Greg Van Roten's spot. Let me just tell you, Joe, I want Greg Van Roten back. I want him to pack his bags and get out of here. I want Joe Douglas to cut him because he is terrible. Yeah. Terrible.
No, you're completely correct. He is awful. But my thought about that is, and I do hear a lot of people saying that they want to take Evan Neal, who's phenomenal, right? Evan Neal's a phenomenal offensive lineman. I get it. But for me, and I'm going to keep pushing this, I think Tyler Linderbaum, if you look at what he does out there on the field, even if you talk to scouts and they talk about him being generational, that this dude is just a different type of guy. He's a guy that if you draft him, he's going to be your center for the next 15, 20, however long. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be your center for the next however long. He's going to dominate, people up front for however long, and he's going to be the guy that is going to be paired with your young quarterback. Then you can figure things out, with him on your offensive line. Now,
hey, Joe,
my thing is, if we get him, you can then slide Connor McGovern over to right guard. Because what I think a lot of people don't remember is he was a guy that played both of those positions. He played guard and center. That was one of the reasons why we brought him in as well. His ability to flip between that. So if you get Tyler, right, you draft him, he's your starting center, you move Connor McGovern over to right guard, that kind of solves that issue. That solves that issue right there in my mind. I'm right there with you, though. I want to get rid of Greg Van Roten.
Yeah.
He is awful.
No, and Joe, now the other thing, Joe, that I was going to say was really quickly, and this is a great thing that's going to happen for the Jets. Now, if you remember, at the end of the month, the New York Jets this year got nominated this year to go to the Reese's Bowl this year for the Senior Bowl to watch all the players that are going into the draft.
Yep.
That is going to be a nice advantage for the Jets this year. Them and the Lions going together to the Reese's Bowl because they got nominated, the coaching staff. Because then Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh can have a really good idea of all the players that are going in this draft that they could see in person.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for them to be able to sit down and not only sit down with a lot of those players and really get that one-on-one with them, also going out there and just being able to watch those guys up close and personal. having those guys, sit in the offensive meeting, or sit in with the offensive meeting when you're setting up the offense and doing the thing, seeing how they run their routes, seeing how all that stuff, being able to really get up close and personal with a player, again, is going to do nothing but help their scouting ability and help Joe Douglas too. I think that's huge for the Jets, like you said too, to be able to get up there and really touch those players. So that's going to be big for us. It's going to be big for us. Still got to make those picks. You know what I'm saying? Still got to go out there and do their thing. But I think that we really landed something well.
What happens, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
So, Joe, let me ask you this one last question before you let me go.
Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on divisional round weekend? Who do you like in divisional round weekend?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. Man, I look at it like this. I'm looking at, I think it's Bengals Titans, right? I don't know, man. I know Derrick Henry just got cleared. I think I'm taking the Bengals. Niners Packers. I think I'm taking the Packers. Rams Bucks. I think I'm gonna take the Bucks. Bills Chiefs. I'm sorry, I'm taking the Chiefs, man. The Chiefs are they're such a tough team. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah, but I'm
a big Jets fan, but Chiefs are one of the best teams I like to watch.
A lot of people are picking there are some people, Joe, that are taking the Bills because they think that the Bills can match Kansas City's talent.
I mean, well, the Bills are phenomenal. Don't get it confused. That defense is unbelievable. Micah Hyde, all the guys they got up front, Ed Oliver, Star Hulele, Jerry Hughes, Greg Rousseau. The names go on and on, all the things that they got going on over there defensively. But I'm telling you, I just don't know how they can keep up with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are so they just stun you offensively. They come out and they're just able to put up points. Even if they just keep having to knock at that door, eventually they're able to get that door open and get some points on the board, and then you got to keep up with them. I think the Bills are phenomenal. I think that they're a great team. I think they built how we should have built their squad around, and I think they're going to be around for years to come. This is going to be the team that we're going to be fighting, to win these divisions, but the Chiefs are just phenomenal. They're phenomenal. Give me your thoughts on that, Steve, before I let you go.
Yeah, Joe, they are. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for having me on tonight, man.
All right. Well, you have yourself a good night, Steve. Listen, Steve coming with the heat, man. Steve coming with the heat. We talking talk. We talking ball. We talking football, Listen, I understand a lot of people, want to talk about, again, we had discussions tonight about safety, taking guys at 4. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to see that happen. I really want to protect Zach Wilson. And I really want to build this offense. A lot of people, I think, are set, particularly offensive line, talking about Connor McGovern as a top 10 center. We have the 29th ranked rushing offense in the league. How is he a top 10 center? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Our rushing offense is not that good. We gotta figure this thing out. We gotta make sure that we hit positions of impact. We gotta do our thing. But when you look at our wide receiver core, like we've spoken about tonight, it's going to be huge as well, seeing what goes on going forward. Corey Davis, we hoping he comes back healthy. Elijah Moore, we're excited about him. Hope he's able to get things. We're going to see what happens with Keelan Cole, what happens with Jamison Crowder. If those two guys end up walking away in free agency, which they could, we got to fill that in as well. There's some wide receivers in this draft that we could end up taking. Again, Trey Burke, Drake London, could be out there. We'll see what happens with him. Garrett Wilson. I'm talking about Jamison Williams. He's a guy that can slide. There's a lot of people talking about him, possibly sliding because, of that ACL. So we'll see what happens, man. There's a lot to discuss, and we're going to continue to discuss them. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. This has been a phenomenal show, man. It's been a lot of fire. A lot going on. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. Again, YoungJ000. Follow me, I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge. And I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times. Fight on. You know what I'm saying? Best damn trade up we've made in a long time. I will have that Vera Tucker jersey on. So if you want to troll me, we can go back and forth. I'm also on YouTube as well. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. When you come on over, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to turn on your notifications. When I post content, you folks will be in the know. If you want to troll me on there, no issues. I'll troll you right back on there as well. All right, just hit me in the comments and we'll go back and forth. And as always, people, when you see me in person, because eventually you will, a lot of things going on, but eventually you will see me. It is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. I want to thank you folks for listening. I want to thank you folks for calling in as well. Without you folks, I am absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the times out of your day to call in and listen to the show. You folks are phenomenal. You folks have a good one. Peace. 1 second, folks. All right, we're back at it. Salutes to everybody. I want to thank everybody for calling in tonight. It's a phenomenal show. We had a lot of fun. We're going to continue to have shows again. If you are brand new or if you're a new viewer, !! links in the chat brings up my link tree. My link tree has the links to all of my social media platforms, everything. All of my social media, all of my YouTube pages, everything that I'm involved in is there. So you can click that link tree, scroll down. Please subscribe to all of my YouTube pages. Follow me across all my social media and talk to me because I talk back. Also down there as well is my Discord. Please go join my Discord. All right. We have a lot of fun in there. Tell jokes. Don't come in there with that craziness. My mods will get you out of there. All right. So watch what you say. But as long as you come in there and have fun, that's what we're there to do. So we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to have shows. Again, please subscribe to the channel if you have not. Follow me across my social media. I announce when I have shows. My schedule is crazy, as everybody knows, so we do shows and we can do shows. We also game on this channel as well. When my schedule kind of slows down a little bit, we'll get back to gaming. We Madden, NBA 2K, Street Fighter, all that stuff. We have a lot of fun, but things are going on in the world and it's crazy. So I got to do what I got to do. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get on up out of here. Schedule's nuts. Again, salutes. I want to thank J.E. Mac Levin. Max, salutes to you. Good to see you in here, Max. Simply awesome. Good to see you. NY Jets FL. Good to see you. Big Green, salutes to you. How about them Jets? Good to see you in here as well, man. Good to see everybody. You know what I'm saying? My guy J.E. Mike, salutes to you. Jets all the time. That's what I'm talking about. NY Sports MC, salutes to you, man. Good to see you in here as well, my friend. Mr. Magic, salutes to you, man. Just salutes to everybody. Big Game James, everybody that came by and just said what's up and joined the stream, called in, all that stuff. Jets gang, all my guys, man, that came on by and said what's up. Salutes to Edward Stewart as well. Donald Davis, everybody that just came in. And again, if you're new, we'll continue this throughout the rest of the off season. We're going to continue to have shows. We're going to continue to do our thing. You know what I'm saying? And just have a good time talking about this stuff, man. A lot of things to talk about when you talking about covering the New York Jets. A lot of holes, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out because we're going to be winners soon. Soon. I don't know how soon, but it's going to be soon. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get it done. So listen, folks, I got to get out of here. Look, things is crazy. All right. Things is crazy in the world right now. I want you to be safe. Okay. Be safe. The world is crazy. And I don't know why it's as crazy as it is, but it is crazy. All right. Be safe. Sit down with your friends and family, your loved ones, and have some great moments. Enjoy your times with them. Sit down, watch some TV, eat some good food. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy those times with those people, build those memories, and, let everyone that you love know that you love them. That is very, very important in this world. All right. So you folks have a good one. I'll let you folks know when I'm going to be doing the show again. I think the next show I'm going to do is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's probably going to be the next show. So also, if you're new, I do my shows at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, they get announced through, my social media and all that stuff. If you call into the show about 10 minutes early, that's when the lines open up. So if you want to get on the show earlier, you call in then, boom, and you'll get on earlier. That's an old trick that a lot of, people that have been on the show for a while do. So please, if you want to call in early, lines open up about 10 minutes before the show actually starts. then when the show starts, you'll get in earlier. So that's a trick I just put out there constantly. But again, please be safe out here, people. I'll let you folks know, but I'm thinking the next show is going to be Tuesday at 7. So just keep your ears peeled. Again, I'll blast out all the notifications, and you folks will know we're going to go live. So you folks have a